Today is probably not going to be such a fun day in the Carpartment because it's kind of a we have no choice but to do this sort of day, and that's because of me. We actually went to test the car last week after putting the new bump stops on it and getting the shocks back on it. We were going to test it so we could go to an event in a couple of weeks. Actually, I guess, yeah, in a couple of weeks is right. And I made a little boo-boo, and actually a pretty big boo-boo. I was the guinea pig the first time out, which is fine because I'm used to doing that, but I guess I was a little aggressive on my shift and I lost control and ended up 2 wheels up on a sidewalk. So I did a little damage to the ND. I bent the rear subframe. I broke a wheel, broke a pretty decent little chunk out of the edge of the wheel and bent one. So today we're going to be replacing the rear subframe, or at least taking the car apart and trying to figure out how to replace the rear subframe. So we have a brand new part in the garage, a brand new part from Mazda Speed to put on the car. And before I show you the new subframe that we just got yesterday by UPS, you can see a little footage here of my little incident, which we so wonderfully got on video so I can relive it over and over again. Okay. So here's the ginormous box that it came in, and here it is. So we have to take apart a bunch of things on the rear end of the car. So much. It's going to be great times. Not really. But at least it's replaceable and it'll be like new again and we can get back to racing it. So, and put all this behind us and move on. And I'm not sure if we're going to be the first ones to actually do a video of a rear subframe replacement on a car that's a year old, basically. I'm sure it's been done, but I don't know if people are videoing it at this. And here's the wheel that I said I broke. You can see the nice little chunk missing out of it, which is on our trophy table at the moment. I don't see that as much of a trophy, but I guess it's a reminder not to be a dummy. But there's still paint on it from the curb, or the sidewalk, I should say. And it was actually a little short sidewalk, so if it would have been a tall one, I guess it would have been way worse. But and then we think this wheel, well, we know this wheel is slightly bent, but we're actually going to replace it anyway. So there's a little chunk out of the lip of it as well. So this is going to be our reference today. We've got the little setup here with the keyboard and everything with our smart TV, and this is our factory service manual, which tells us everything we need to know about removing it and installing a new one, including all the torque specs and all the fun stuff we get to go through. Diagrams, all sorts of fun stuff. Brian and I both have well, I just skimmed it. I don't know how far in depth Brian's went with it at this point, but he claims he doesn't think it's going to be that bad. I read through it and I was like, oh my God, this is going to suck. But the good news is we're working on a car that's a year old, so you shouldn't have to worry about breaking bolts and rusted up parts and all the fun stuff that you normally have to deal with cars. So, you ready to get started?
I guess.
Woohoo!
So that's a stupid little sensor that detects how much weight you've got in the trunk, basically the rear squat of the car, and adjusts the front headlights accordingly.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah. Which, when people lower their cars, their headlights then aim high, or aim low. Sorry, yeah, because it thinks the car's been squatted in the rear, so it aims the headlights down lower. So Flying Miata sells a little arm to correct that. But Our car's stock height, so no worries. You'll notice I'm not using power tools on any of this. I'm kind of old school that way, but these are all pretty small fasteners that I'm taking loose right now, so little 6mm fasteners, don't want to risk snapping any of them.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just a gravel catcher. So, yeah, you probably didn't realize your Miata was equipped with a gravel catcher.
Do you want me to do anything to help with the hardware, or like as far as knowing what goes on what? Or?
We'll put most of it back in the original holes, and we'll just have to start robbing from this one when we put the other one back in.
Okay. All right. We'll just convert them all to the new one.
Yeah.
So far, the front part of the exhaust is out. The muffler's still back there, but the drive shaft is out. There's some sort of brace that's there in the middle that is out. Brian's just disconnected the brakes, the calipers.
So Mazda's recommending removing the hub, basically everything kind of separate, taking all the pieces off of the subframe and then dropping the subframe. Rather than doing that, I think what I'm going to try to do is drop the whole thing down. We've got a table that we can move underneath the car that's on casters. Drop the whole thing down and I can disassemble it on a bench instead of under the car. So I'm going to give it a try. We found that Mazda they didn't have the best method for shock install, so I'm sure there's some other things they're probably not as astute on.
I didn't have the best method for removing the front sway bar either.
Hell to them.
Wow, that's light.
But we don't have a transmission. We're almost halfway there.
I would have much rather broke the transmission, although we wouldn't be doing this work right now. Mazda would be doing the work.
They're big nuts.
The biggest nuts in the car?
Not
Not that big.
Probably 21 if I'm guessing. Good guess, huh? Basically, while I'm doing this, and this whole thing's gonna drop out eventually, this needs to stay parallel with the rear diff, so you probably need to push up a little. You're fine. Yeah, just as long as you're don't understand.
We're pushing down the diff there.
The other option is to remove it all as one unit. Which may be the best option right now. That'll work. Come here for a minute. Move this transmission jack forward some. Push it up.
Okay.
A lot more.
I'm stuck on something.
Get unstuck.
Okay, you ready?
Okay. That'll work. Just so, grab me a tape measure. Top of the box. Box. Three and a quarter inches. Center to center. Go make a special service tool. Okay, so since we're doing things a little different than Mazda wants to, I'm going to support the transmission unit using the body and drop the whole rear diff, crossmember, power plant frame, suspension all onto a table using the lift. So the transmission's got to be supported. They tell you to support the transmission with a transmission jack. I can't do that if I'm bringing the lift down. So right now it is supported by a transmission jack, but I've made this special service tool out of some old angle iron we had lying around. And that's going to mount to the body and support the transmission through this process. I'm pretty sure I'll market these and sell them to Mazda and make millions.
Right. Which one are you going in? The furthest one? Oh, where am I going?
Down there.
I don't know. Mess with it.
So,
Hand tighten, is it?
yeah,
Okay.
should be able to drop this, transmission stay in place. Voila.
Okay. So wheel this out of here.
Yep.
Do you want me to move
Move
this?
the tape measure. Tell me when I make contact.
Okay. You're close. A couple inches away. Okay. I heard it.
Okay.
Make sure the car's still on though, because I heard it. I heard something.
So I'm going to leave the rear shocks in the car. So I need to take the lower bolt out.
I'll get it. Does that mean it's free?
I hope.
Okay, what do I need to watch for?
You go on the other side and guide the shock out more than anything. You may have to push the shock a little bit.
Push it which way?
Inboard probably.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna have to pull the bolt out.
Okay.
It's on the inside.
I can't even see it. Oh, okay. Go. I got it.
Okay. Put it with that nut.
Where do you want me to put this? Almost got it.
Hold your shot.
All right. Alright, so it worked. There's the sad little lack of any rear anything pretty much. And here it is all on the table. So we get to dismantle all of this, and wow, that thing's filthy. For it to only have 11,000 miles on it, that's a lot of dirt. But take all of this apart on the table, Brian says, which seems to be a better option. And put it all back together on the table and then go back through that process again, I guess. The worst part is probably going to be lining these fun bolts up. Which I guess when it's not bent, it's not going to be as big of a deal, huh?
Let's hope.
All right. Support all this. So I'm gonna do the other side. About the stools, would that help?
If you think,
I don't.
put some wood on them or something so they don't get to work.
Yeah, I know.
It's fine. It's holding right there, baby.
Yeah, but look how much.
It's fine. It's being subjected to less torture than you've already put it through.
So you want me to just leave it like that? Okay.
Get the stools. We will need them.
Okay.
It'd be great if we had a couple of strong guys.
It's me and Mia. I don't know what you want. So here's the rear subframe, Crossmember, as Mazda calls it, the one that we just took off with everything disconnected from it except for the hardware. We just transferred it over so we can transfer it to the new one easily. But here is actually where apparently it's bent. Like some of the powder coating actually came off right there. And then is it this tab or whatever is what? So this complete part right here is what's bent. And actually one of the, what is that called that was in there?
Alignment bolts.
No, but the arm that was in there, like that was hard to get out.
Controller. Lower controller.
Okay, so the lower control arm was like pinched in there basically. So Brian had to use a crowbar, a pry bar, I guess, to get it out. But yeah, that's the culprit right there. That little piece had to replace all of this for just that. And that's what happens when you hit a sidewalk. So don't do that at home or on the track or anywhere for that matter. Genuine Mazda parts.
Which one's the rear, which one's the front?
I'm trying to figure out A and Z. 66ZA, 66Z.
Oh, one's got a much larger head.
That's what she said.
Here's the one that goes on this side. It's right here. This is the smaller head, so that's a front bolt.
This is the front? Okay.
So it didn't come with a nut, so where's the one you discarded?
I will get it. Alright, one side's together. One side to go. Alright. It's all back together. All that's left to do is torque everything to factory specs, which we have on the factory service manual, and roll it back into there and line everything back up, put it all back together. Has it been that big of a pain in the butt?
I can think of better things to do on Saturday morning or afternoon now, probably.
But has it really been as difficult as you thought it would
It hurt my wallet a little bit.
be? Yeah, maybe. It hurt my feelings a little bit.
Your ego.
No, that's the thing. My ego is really. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? And, like, I mean, I should have known better than to go on a lot that I really didn't know. Apparently, that lot is slick, and I didn't realize it. And I really wanted to push the car hard to try to test it. But that was probably a little too hard, so.
You think?
Well, I also didn't realize the sidewalk was, within striking distance. So now I know that I should be paying attention to things like that, especially at local sites. National sites, it's not really an issue, but although I guess some people will argue that, because I know some people who have done some things at national sites as well. But anyway, lesson learned. Glad you love me so much.
So why am I putting this together? You should do this.
I'll torque it, I don't care.
So since I took it all apart, we're gonna let Tara put it back together.
It's already back together.
So the torque spec is 49 to 59. You want to go right in the middle, so we're gonna go 54 foot-pounds.
So tell me what all the torque is.
That. And then we'll do all of one side first, and then we'll do the other.
Oh, these two first?
They're all the same torque specs, so you can go in whatever.
I know, but I want you to watch me so I make sure that I've got them all. I want to go in the same order if possible.
Sorry, I'm detailing.
Well, you could detail in between this one.
Just start and go.
I know, but I want you to keep track so I know that I don't want to get blamed for not getting one and something happening. This is
To get the car to lower and
she's going back in. Okay, you want me to get all that out of the way so it's not getting pinched or anything? No, you're not gonna go down that far yet. Put it out there, fine.
I just got it up in front of this piece.
This page? Okay. So these, yeah, I was gonna say, it's not quite. It looks like it needs to come toward me. It goes in this hole, right? It goes in this hole, it needs to come toward me a little bit. That's not working. I gotta turn the wheels.
We'll have to get closer, so guide your shot.
rear sway bar, still gotta put that on. Brian's he put the brake caliper on this side, he's putting it on the other side over there, and I guess it's gotta hook back up the ABS, parking brake cable, and then whatever that stupid trunk leveling thing is. Thinking outside of the box actually worked for dropping the entire piece and rebuilding it on the table.
Damn right, yeah.
And his angle iron, what did you call it? Your special, what did you?
Special service tool.
Special service tool to hold the transmission up was perfect. Yeah, and Mazda wanted you to drain the diff and
Do all sorts of other ridiculous
yeah, take the entire assembly for the hub and everything off the end. Like, Brian shortcutted some of the stuff, which has made this a lot less painful. So it was painful enough money-wise. So. Barking at? Our shop dog has been right under our feet the entire day, but she loves being out here, so we can't not have her out here. Alright, it's done. It's back on the ground. We're just gonna talk about how today went, and like, personally, I think it was easier than I thought it would be. But yes, was it a pain in the butt? Yeah, but it was easier than I thought it would be.
It was a successful day that didn't need to happen.
True. Thank you very much. But it had to happen. It didn't need to happen, but it had to happen. We got the car back aligned. Well, I mean, it's not professionally aligned, but it's aligned the best we can with Brian's cool little tools that he has to check it. And
the new rear subframe doesn't give us as much camber. Right. It probably gives us as much as we need, but we're not as much in the middle of the adjustment as we were before, I don't think. But that'll be verified next week when it goes on a real alignment machine.
So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But at least it doesn't have a bent rear subframe anymore. Or, like, it's essentially like it was again, so, except for the alignment. So.
And the 2 broken wheels.
Yeah, okay, well, I meant as it sits right now, because it has the stock wheels on it right now, so. But yes, 2 more wheels are gonna have to be ordered, so. And a set of tires, because we're gonna go race.
Something like that.
So, you think, like, by next week you'll forget about it, or?
I don't know.
I'm not laughing because, I mean, I hate that I did it. I totally hate that I did it, but it is what it is, and the work's over now, so I don't know what to say. Sorry. It sucks.
Live and learn, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And get to be shamed for it, basically. Although people who have done this sort of thing, they have been super cool about it. Like, nobody's given me a hard time, the ones who have done this sort of thing before. So you are giving me a hard time because you haven't done this sort of thing before.
I guess that means my time's coming.
No, God, please, no. I hope not.
If anybody needs a slightly bent subframe for a 2016 Miata, let us know.
I wouldn't suggest racing on it, but it could probably survive on the street just fine.
It'll get you within factory spec alignment numbers, but not as good as what we wanted. If you like what you saw today, give us a thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Be sure to subscribe. Tell everyone you know. We'll hopefully have some fun stuff coming.
Yeah, more fun than this.
Yes.